Zooey Mama, how's it going, everybody? I am back today with my friend and yours, the king of snap streaming over on Twitch. We've got Tuccrr. How are you doing today, Tuck?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic, Doctor. It is so good to be back and make another just flawless, and I mean
Mm-hmm.
flawless, tier list.
Mm-hmm. No errors, no
No,
disagreements. Everyone takes our words as facts, right? What we say on this tier list is an absolute fact. No
for sure.
debate. All right, and today we're going over some 3 cost cards. We've done 1 cost cards, we've done 2 cost cards. Now we're on to 3, just about halfway there. We're going to rank every single 3 cost card that's currently available in Marvel Snap. We're ranking them from S to F tier. S is cards that are just like insanely good. Basically, everyone agrees that they're just insanely valuable, borderline overpowered potentially. A tier are also cards that are very strong. They're great. They can be win conditions as well. B tier, they're good cards. They're solid. Maybe not necessarily carrying decks, or at least not top meta decks. C tier is where you start getting some more questionable cards. Maybe you don't want to be playing these. They're often replaceable, or they're just so like niche and not in top meta decks. And then F tier is our please buff tier. These cards we think are just horrible. They're basically borderline unplayable. They maybe make your deck worse, and they might just see no play. And most of these do, the F tier cards. So we will kick it off alphabetical order, go through every single card, starting with Agent Coulson. So, Agent Coulson, he's been around a while. Where do we have him on the tier list?
I think he's probably more of a B tier card. I don't think he's necessarily amazing. I think the value he can add by giving you a 4-drop you may need in the moment or a 5-drop you may need in the moment is pretty solid. He's definitely kind of gone down, not in value, but he's not as crazy as he used to be in the OG Loki package.
Yeah.
But he still is great for like buffing your collector and giving you some more like Loki fodder to be able to mess around with.
Yeah, he does a couple things, like you mentioned, gives you new cards, can surprise your opponent in conquest mode. That's pretty like valuable. If your opponent knows your whole deck, you can still surprise them. And still does add some value for Loki and Collector. I still like him in my Loki deck. I think B is a good home. We'll keep him there for now. And we may make adjustments towards the end if we want to move things around. But I think B is a good home for him. So next up, we've got Bishop. Where do we have Bishop? Bishop used to be in like almost every deck back in the day when Angela was really strong, Sarah Miracle. He sees a bit of play now. Sometimes he gets replaced. What do you think about Bishop?
I think honestly, it's crazy to see how he's digressed. Not because he really has been like nerfed all that much.
He
I think
hasn't
he may have
changed.
nerfed power, or maybe he didn't.
I think he's been a 3-1. It's just the cards around him in the meta
Okay.
has changed.
I think high C. I think like with this next card coming up, we'll talk about a little bit more. I think has helped with his value as well with some like miracle like Hitmonkey stuff.
Yeah.
But because of Kitty's and Angela's play rate being decreased to what it is now, especially with like Elsa and everything, you just stack on top like you're saying. I think he's a top C tier card. Not low by any means, but he's not gonna like really, I guess, solo you the game as much anymore.
Right, he's not really as big of a win condition, which is funny. When I started playing, like, Bishop Angela was everywhere. I mean, they were both like A or S tier, and then Angela just got nerfed a bunch, which also hurt Bishop. Okay, so then we've got the card you alluded to, the Season Pass card, Black Swan. So she's pretty new still, but we've gone, a few weeks to play her now. We are towards the end of the season. She also kind of feels like a B or maybe C tier card for me. She's got good stats, but I don't know. Sometimes I just don't have that many 1-cost cards in my hand. She's got some decks she adds some value to. Not crazy, but she doesn't feel horrible. What do you think?
Yeah, I think at this point right now, I think she's probably like a C tier card as well, but like high C tier.
Yeah.
I think with some of the cards coming out next season, specifically the one coming out in the first week, I think she might have some potential increased value there. And I like that opposed to other previous season pass cards, she's a little bit more flexible. Like, that's cool. That's why I think she's definitely more of either like a, honestly, I think low B. I think she gets more kind of play potential than Bishop, and she's allowed you, which is crazy, to make Strong Guy a little viable.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff, and she does just let you do some new things. Even like a turn 5 Falcon plus Black Swan. It's just your turn 6. It's brought back Hit Monkey a little bit. Like she's kind of powered up some other specific cards. Even Bishop here, who we already ranked. Okay, so I agree with that. I think low B for now is a good home. Next up, we've got Black Widow. Now a 3/3. Used to be a 2-cost card for like the longest time. And Black Widow's Bite is a -1 power, which used to be 0 power. So where do we have Black Widow? I think Black Widow's pretty strong now as a 3-cost card. She feels all right.
Yeah, I think I think at the 2/1 stat line, I liked her still more. But I think at a 3/3, she's still a good card. I think she's probably top B tier as well. I think what it allows you to do, like clogging your opponent's hand so they don't have that value of drawing another card and adding another -1 to the board, is really good.
Yeah.
It makes it better for Darkhawk to be able to maintain some extra power if you're not drawing your rock, or not drawing your Korg and your rock slide. And it also, I mean, I guess it helps a Loki a little bit with the Widow's Bite, but especially like with Hella stuff going on right now, it kind of makes it so Lockjaw kind of can go and have to do a bunch more stuff in a way. But I think she's not like crazy anymore. I think if people were running her with Ravonna, like people running Ravonna now, she would have been insane at a 2-cost. But she's
actually,
okay.
I like her as a 3-cost now. I've been playing her more. I play her in a Darkhawk Ronin deck, and it works well because you basically always want to play Zabu on 2. So it's nice that you're not playing her off curve now, and she has more power. Before, if you did Zabu 2, Black Widow 3, like a 2/1 on turn 3 was bad. And so now it kind of fits the curve of like a standard Darkhawk deck, which is where she sees the most play. So I don't mind it, and I agree. Top of B, I think, is a good home for now. Next up, we've got Brood. I mean, this card is like the Silver Surfer staple. We see a lot of cards in the Silver Surfer package change. You can go for Sarah style, non-Sarah. You basically always have Brood, right? He's a great target for Surfer. He's a good target for Cerebra 2 decks. He's a good target for Patriot. I mean, Brood's kind of surprisingly versatile. Where do you have him in the rankings tier list?
I think if play rate was a little bit different, like a couple months ago, I think Brood you would have thought like was A tier, like because of the Brood and
Absorbing Man deck
package. That was crazy. I think it is another B tier card. Yeah. I think just the value is good. Like that is 6
it's a good card. It's a good card.
But I think not that like this entirely was the case, but I think if Elsa were to get changed again, I think that would also help Brood in a really good way too, if it was a global effect for Elsa.
Yeah.
But I think he's a good B card. I think he's above.
Do you have him above or below Black Widow?
Below Black Widow. I think just like where Surfer's at right now, which we might maybe see more of Surfer. It's just like if you don't have your combos for Surfer, it's kind of just like...
Yeah, Surfer isn't the strongest, but I agree that Brood is still just a good card, and he has a couple of homes. So I like that spot for him. I think that's nice. But yeah, the old Absorbing Man deck was like insane, and then they nerfed it. they dealt out some nerfs, so that happens. Okay, then we've got Cable, who has seen interesting changes. He's now a 3/4. Draw a card from your opponent's deck. And I don't know if it's still the top card. I think it is. I guess it's just because it says draw. Cables really doesn't see any play. You could use him as like a substitution in like a Loki or Dino deck if you don't own, some other cards. Maybe you don't own like Mirage or Snowguard or, something. Where do we have Cable? For me, he's definitely a bit lower on the tier list.
I think I have him in low C. I don't necessarily think he needs a rework.
So I agree, C tier. I'll put him below Bishop. I think is probably a good spot for now. Then we've got Kyra. So she came out in January. Sees a bit of play, mainly in like high Evo decks, sometimes some Thanos decks. She's just kind of, good card. Where do you have her? Do you think she's A tier, B tier? What do you think?
I think she's at least A tier. I think the overall value she can add with her global effect, allowing you to also play on lanes where cards normally get destroyed, but you're protected.
Yeah, Death's Domain
Personally.
or like Rickety Bridge. She is killer. She is so good. I agree with that. I think that's a really good bonus part is that it's almost like some games where like Legion just wins you a game because of the locations. Kyera has that, right? There's some locations where she's just gonna win you like that lane or potentially the whole game. It's pretty nuts. So I think so. I think so far since she's come out, she's performed well, and I think she's gonna keep performing well as long as 6 cost cards, big stuff stays pretty strong. And obviously with Shang-Chi everywhere right now, she can actually get pretty good value.
Yeah, she's in a good spot.
All right, then we've got Captain America, the nice early game card that everybody has been wanting to get buffed for at least a year now. Where do we have him? Is he just F tier? Is that just the fact?
I think we do put him F tier. I don't think his ability is horrible.
I agree.
I just think where he's at currently with like the meta, he's not in a good spot.
Yeah, and I think it's not even just the meta. I mean, even when we're ranking these cards, right, we're not just looking at maybe like this specific week, the meta that's been around like this week or last week, but he's never in the meta, like he's not any metas except for when you're in pool 1 and pool 2. And there's just other better ongoing cards. If you're going for a full ongoing deck, he basically doesn't make the cut. They even buffed Punisher. Now Punisher gets bigger than him. Punisher will go to a 3/7. There's just no great reason to play the captain, unfortunately. So you think F tier is fitting?
Yeah, I think F tier.
I think he needs a buff or rework. He needs something if they want him to be playable, but they seem a bit hesitant since he's meant as like an early game character to kind of draw new players in. All right, then we've got Cerebro. Cerebro's kind of hard to rank. I mean, he makes his own archetype. It at times is a bit stronger. It's never like the best in the game, but it's often has a competitive form, whether it's like C2, C3, sometimes C5. Is Cerebro A tier? Is he B tier? What do you think? He's kind of hard to rank.
I think where we have our B tier right now, I think he's top of B tier.
Okay.
I think a lot of like, if this game's locations were way more random than it feels sometimes,
That's true.
I think we could rate Cerebro higher. But because there's so many offsetting locations for Cerebro,
Yeah,
I think we can't necessarily put him in A at the moment.
that's true. And also, they did make Luke Cage a 3/4, and we're going to talk about him later. But the prominent Cerebro decks have been C2, C3, and then C5 just gets good value because of like Doctor Doom. But now like C4 isn't really a big thing, so Cerebro losing Luke Cage to me also is like really hurts it. At least hurts Cerebro 3 decks. And that's not like a meta thing, that's like they changed the card thing, right? The meta changes, Luke Cage is still going to be a 3/4. So I think B tier is a good call. He's just very impactful because he makes his own archetype. All right, then we got Corvus Glaive. He is the newest 3-cost card on our list. Where do we have Corvus in our rankings?
So it's really crazy. Just at the moment, I think people might overhype him. Not saying he's not good, but because of how dominant Hell is right now, people might be like, "Yo, he's S tier," because he just can solo you games and stuff. I think with the value he adds with the +1 max energy, I think he's definitely A tier. But I think he just enables you to do like a different level of ramp that doesn't necessarily limit you the same way Electro does, because you can still play more than one card a turn. And the stats are better. 3/5 is better than 3/2. So I think
He's got really good stats.
it's really good for a ramp.
I agree, actually. He is new, so it's a bit hard to know. We've only had him in the current meta, which is hella dominated. So it's possible that, over time, he drops in play a good amount if discard kind of washes out a bit. And then he seems more like B tier. But for now, he just seems like good stats, ramp, and discard. And how he's been performing, as long as he's been in the game, I think has been A tier. Again, over time, I could see him dropping to B. But based on what he's done so far, I think that's a good spot for him. All right, then we've got the good doggo Cosmo. Where do we have Cosmo? Cosmo does not see that much play, but still a pretty solid tech card in my opinion.
So like, holistically, we are not playing Cosmo enough. This is a top B tier or a low A tier card. And I know that is crazy, but he's just not getting played enough. The value he adds as an ongoing tech card, and the only way to stop this card is an Echo or somehow landing a 99 on Cosmo is absurd, you know? Like, that is literally insane.
Yeah, it's really hard to kill him. So where do you have him on the tier list?
I think right now, honestly, like a top of B on the tier list at the moment.
I think that's fair. I think, he hasn't seen too much play recently, so may not fit into A tier, but I think he's always a good card. Like, you can put Cosmo in your deck, you're always going to get good value. Okay, he may not win you games, especially if, you play it not on the same turn as your opponent and then they play around it. But he usually produces good value. So do you have him above Cerebro?
Yes, I do have him above Cerebro.
All right. Okay, next up, we've got Crystal. Oof. Now she does see some play in like some Living Tribunal ongoing decks or some Mr. Negative stuff. I personally don't run her in those lists. I still think she's kind of F tier. Is there any argument that she's low C? Where do you have Crystal?
So, like, I don't necessarily think she needs a rework. But I don't think she's good. So, I can see the argument for F tier.
Does she maybe need a buff, like a stats buff? Like if she was like a 3-4 or 3-5, I mean, look at how Gladiator's like a 3-8. He potentially gives your opponent something good. Like Crystal's helping out your opponent, but she doesn't really have a stat line that like backs it up, right?
Yeah, I think if you make her like a 3-5, I think Crystal is better. I think she needs a buff power-wise for like the downside she has for your opponent drawing a card.
Totally. Yeah, and obviously she's helping you draw too, so it's kind of win-win, and you're presumably playing some more combo focus. But yeah, I agree. Helping out your opponent always kind of feels bad. So we'll put her above the captain though.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, then we've got Cyclops. So we'll look at this as base Cyclops, how he gets used in Patriot decks, and also as evolved Cyclops when he's paired with high evolutionary in those type of decks. Okay, so just any type of decks that he sees playing, his base form and evolved form, which for Cyclops is mainly the evolved form that gets most of the value. Where do you have him? He's definitely a pretty strong card in high evo decks. Is he A tier, B tier?
Is it crazy?
Don't you say it.
I think.
Okay, this could be good.
So I think there's an argument. There's an argument that high evo Cyclops is S tier. There's an argument. I think realistically, he is a top A tier card. Because the value he adds is not an on reveal. It's not an ongoing. It is just a strictly flat text. If you do not spend energy, he hits 2 cards.
I agree with A tier. I think S tier is maybe debatable. We'd put him above Kyera, I think is a good spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think S tier is debatable. Maybe as we get towards the end, we'll see how he stacks up if we have any other S tier cards. Although, honestly, 3-cost cards right now are pretty weak. Just get overshadowed by 4-cost cards, but he's definitely one of the stronger ones when I'm looking at this list. So
there's at least one S tier card I already see on here.
That argument is there. Ooh, I gotta try and spot out what you're talking about. Okay, well, we'll get to it. All right, we've got Dawkin. I've never played him too much, but I know you are a big Destroy player, so I think you've tested him out a bit more than I have. So take it away. What do you think about Dawkin? Where would he fall on the tier list?
I think Dawkin is a high C tier card. I think he's nothing crazy. He is, by the way, in spotlights this week.
Yeah.
So plenty of time to test him out. I think Dawkin is not something you use specifically in Just Destroy or something you may specifically use in Discard. I think Dawkin is a great definition of a hybrid card. But I don't think he's anything crazy. He can get to, 3-8. You can double his power and do more shards and stuff, but I think holistically you have to combo heavy to be able to get what you want out of Dawkin, so that means kind of limits him to C.
Yeah, he needs a very specific package around him. Whatever your goals are, if it's like a collector deck or something, you know, he's very niche. But he can power up in those scenarios. So do we have him above Bishop, below Bishop?
I think we put him below Bishop.
Okay. We've got Deathlock.
I think Deathlock is a very low B tier card, maybe above Brood. I don't think he's
that's
better
fair.
than Black Widow, but
yeah, I think that's a good spot, and I think I know who you're talking about. It's who I originally thought, and then when I thought of Venom, I'm like, oh, you're definitely him. But I think we're gonna be there soon. All right, then we've got Debris. Used to see a bit of play in Clog decks, can see a bit of play in Patriot decks. You can do a Hazmat now that Luke Cage has been buffed. But pretty weak still, in my opinion. Is she just like C tier? Just kind of meh?
Debris is C tier because of the Annihilus change. If the Annihilus change didn't happen, Debris, I think, has an argument for B tier.
Yeah, I agree. But she's still very specific. You can't really replace her. If you do use her in a deck, she's got pretty like unique value. So I don't think she's F tier. We'll put her C below Dawkin, above. What do you think?
Below Dawkin.
All right, I like it. All right, then we are up. Oops, how did alphabetical? Oh, I forgot about Electro. Okay, we got Electro.
I think Electro's still a low B. Let's put him below Swan, just because Corvus is a card.
All right, that's fair. That is fair. Corvus is helping out his play a bit though, because now you do ramp decks with Electro and Corvus, and kind of have a nice backup. All right, then we've got Gambit. Gambit is good. He's seen a bit more play recently because his discard has increased a bit, and I've seen more of him. I've been getting wrecked by him a little bit. What do you think about Gambit?
I think the coolest thing about Gambit is he's not locked into one lane. Like when you think about a 3-cost card, you think of more of a global kind of ability.
Yeah.
While it's still RNG dependent, this is another one of those cards, which I should have mentioned, that can hit like a Cosmo. And I think you play him early on curve too, and you can kind of hit some of these like.
You can target a sunspot. Yeah. Like if you're against high Evo, like it'll guarantee hit a sunspot.
So I like him on curve. I think he's definitely, because it's still RNG dependent, because you don't know what you are discarding as well.
Yeah.
I think he's still B. I think we're gonna have a lot of B cards in this list.
I think so. Where in B tier would you put him?
Is it crazy for me to? Yeah, I think.
Right here?
I'll just do Electro. Yeah, that's fine.
Next up, we've got Ghost. Now a 3/5. Sees a bit of play in Sarah decks that want to dodge priority so they can hit you with Enchantress and Shang-Chi on the final turn. Is Ghost just B tier now? Is Ghost out of C tier, or is high C, low B? What do you think?
I think high C. I think priority is still a huge factor in this game, but being able to like win lanes before turn 6 because you have a 3/5 now instead of a 1/2, I think that really has like shaped her up from where she was originally. I would put her above Bishop.
All right, I think that's fair. All right, then we've got Gladiator. I'm assuming that this might be the card you were referring to, because Gladiator has been absolutely popping off recently in Sarah decks. Came out as a 3/7. Was buffed up very promptly, now a 3/8, and seeing a ton of play. Gladiator, I think now is A tier, maybe argument for S is what I'm gonna hear for you. What we got?
This is also not the card I was referring to.
What? What is this card? You got a secret card out here.
But I think Gladiator, first stats overall, I think it's definitely A tier.
Yeah. And especially you just drop him on turn 6 too, on like a full lane. It's just a 3/8.
Like you either, whatchamacallit, you either destroy a card with him, or you drop a big card that helps your opponent win the game, and you retreat for 1 cube.
Yeah, exactly. You just retreat if it goes poorly. Where would you have him in A?
I'd have him above Corvus.
All right, I think it's fair. I'm still trying to figure out this card you're looking for. Now, I'm narrowed it down to, maybe Lady Sif or Lockjaw. We'll get there when we get there, but I'm whiffing on what your S tier card is. Now we got Green Goblin. Decent card, mainly just sees play in some styles of Clog decks and Galactus decks. Very nice for Green Goblin to get the Ravana Renslayer discount. Just B tier? Is he B or is he C because of how niche he is? Where do we put Green Goblin? For me, he's somewhere B or C, but kind of hard to rank.
I think he's a high C card.
Above Dawkin?
Yes.
All right, I think that's a good.
Above Dawkin.
I think that's a good home for him. All right, next up we've got Groot. Groot is tough because we just looked at Gladiator, who is a 3/8. Groot is a 3/4, or if you hit his on reveal well, he's a 3/6. And Gladiator's just a 3/8 all the time. Is Groot F tier? Is he bottom of C?
I think Groot is F tier, unfortunately.
Poor Groot, the fan favorite from the Marvel series. Where in F tier would you have him?
I have him.
He's got to be below Crystal, right? I don't ever see him.
Is it crazy to say he's below Captain America?
I don't. They're just both so bad. I mean, listen, they both get to be a 3/6, right? Groot, if you hit the on reveal, he's a 3/6. Captain America, you can consistently make him a 3/6. You don't need to guess where your opponent's playing. You could doubles ongoing or power him up with Spectrum. So actually, you know what? I agree with you. I think Groot is worse than Captain.
Yeah, I think Groot is worse.
Because again, if you wanted to, or even for earlier players, like you just put Captain America in a deck with Spectrum. Whereas there's nothing that's really going to help Groot. Like you're not going to hit him with Odin. That's kind of more useless. Man, Groot, terrible, dude.
Forget Odin on Groot.
Yeah,
oh,
right. Like it's, but Spectrum on Captain works, right? The ongoing 6. Groot, there's no way to like improve his value. There's nothing you can add besides like using Jean Grey to know where your opponent's gonna play. All right, we've got Hitmonkey. Originally came out was like busted because he came out as like a 2-cost 0-powered card. Now he's a 3/2, had been in a slump, but recently has seen more play because of Ceradex and Black Swan, and just, you know, bounce decks that play him. Where do we got Hitmonkey? Is he B tier, A tier? What do you think?
I think Hitmonkey's low end A tier.
Okay.
Or like top B tier. I think.
Yeah, he's got to be one of those.
The cool thing about like Hitmonkey is your deck goes horizontal and has potential to go vertical with playage, like play usage and stuff.
Right.
So I think that allows you to kind of just like combat a lot of the stuff going on. Like, I think for right now we put him top of B tier above Cosmo, but there could be an argument depending on how we fill out A tier. Yeah,
I think that's fair. He can get good values and he can be a win condition. You do need to have a pretty dedicated deck. But you know, he's seen some more play recently. All the discounts in the game, all the energy boosts, card discounts. It's easy. It's getting easier to play Hitmonkey alongside like bigger cards instead of just playing him alongside like Mysterio, right? Like they have more options that also do their own things. All right, then we've got Ironheart, the nice 3/0. Great for Mr. Negative. Can be in like Ravana decks or some Silver Surfer negative decks. But pretty niche, you know. Maybe you're going for some crazy Wong, just wombo combo stuff. Is Ironheart just like C tier because how niche she is? I think, would you have her above Ghost is the question.
Yeah, because she is a 3/6.
All right, then we've got Jean Grey. I know you play a lot of Jean, so I'll let you take it away.
So I really enjoy this card, and I think it is, of course, pretty niche. She's gonna get better next season with hope. But I think she's at a place right now where she just needs a little bit more power for what she is and like what she does. I think and because of that reason, she is F tier. Unfortunately, she is gonna be F tier because she needs a buff. She needs more love. It's kind of like, she works with a Captain America. She works with a Spectrum because she's ongoing, but she ain't it.
You don't have a great reason to play her. And you really haven't ever since she came out. Like, you could play her, but she's never really been like a strong force in the meta. She always just
wave nerf.
Yeah, she always just feels like she has some potential. But I agree that Just a power buff, maybe enough even. So I'll put her above Crystal though. She maybe can do a bit more. Next up, we've got Juggernaut.
Is it wrong to say he's like a top B or a low end A card?
I think B is fair. I think you can. I mean, saying he's a good card, like, I think is fair. Saying he's great, I don't know. That might be a hot take. I think somewhere in B tier is accurate. Where would you have him? Above, below Cosmo?
Below Cosmo.
Then we've got Killmonger. Good at just killing stuff. Kills all the 1-drops, Zoodex, Thanos stuff. But we do have Kyera in the game now. Although Killmonger still sees, nice play in Destroy decks. Where do you got Killmonger? Is he just B tier? Is he A tier?
Killmonger's A tier.
That's fair. That was quick. You were ready with that. You're very passionate about Killmonger.
I think just like holistically, yes, he gets countered by armor. Yes, he gets countered by Kyera. Yes, he gets countered by Cosmo. But like, he destroys every single 1-drop on the board.
Right.
Like,
it's a nice global effect.
like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and he can just give you a free death.
Mm-hmm.
He's always looking at all the metas. He usually sees a decent amount of play. Yeah, he'll go up and down at times, but he's basically always there. Like, if you're playing deck with 1-drops, you're always like, does my opponent have Killmonger? Like, I'm worried about that. Even, Sarah decks right now are running him pretty often, so I think that's fair. Would we have him below, above Corvus? Or a bit higher? Where do you think in A tier he falls, actually?
Probably above Corvus.
All right, we'll show some love to Killmonger then. All right, next up we've got Lady Sif. Great for discard, a nice targeted discard with a good stat line. She was like 3-4 for the longest time. Now she's a 3-5. Where do we got her? She A tier? High B or just A?
I think she's A tier. I think for the 3-5 stat and for how it targets for you.
Yes.
It's just so good.
Great with Black Knight too. And with Hela decks, because you put Death in your hand, so Death is the most expensive and you can't discard Hela. She's basically like the main trigger besides Blade, right, for a discard. Yeah. So where in A tier? To me, I do think she's better than Corvus still. She doesn't do the ramp, but where in A tier would you have her?
I have her below Killmonger.
All right, we'll put it right above Corvus. Nice discard package. Showing up strong here in the A tier. Then we've got Lockjaw, and Lockjaw's been popping off. Is Lockjaw S tier?
Lockjaw is S tier.
Lockjaw is S tier? Is this the card you're alluding to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lockjaw is S tier.
Once I saw it, I'm like, oh man, because he's been popping off right now with the Hela Lockjaw meta, Thanos Lockjaw. But even in the past, Thanos Lockjaw was a really big problem, and they even had to nerf him, and they nerfed Quinjet. They've had to nerf like multiple cards. They nerfed Leech, right? They've had to nerf stuff because of Lockjaw. He's going to continue to be a problem. There's going to be new cards that come out or certain metas that arise where Lockjaw is just a problem. Just being able to put something tiny in, get something huge out, and it's really hard to counter. It's just like if your opponent plays well, don't you be laughing at my choice of words here. If your opponent plays well, or they just get lucky, good RNG, they're just going to win. So he's just S tier, right? You put small stuff in, take big stuff out. That's how it is.
Yeah, he's just S tier. He's arguably the best card in the game right now.
That's true. He is arguably one of the best, regardless of cost. All right, then we've got Luke Cage, a 3-4, but he has his global effect back. He will protect all lanes, and he's back to being a solid tech card. Not as cheap and flexible when he was a 2-cost card, but for me, he's got to be A tier or at least upper B. He just seems like a good card.
Yeah, I think as a 3-4, he's more upper B.
Yeah.
But I think the way we've kind of handled the stuff, like the way we're thinking right now, we got to put him in A tier.
You think he's going to A?
Yeah, I think he's definitely better than Hitmonkey and Cosmo, just because like globally what he can do.
Right.
Like a lot of these cards, I mean, if we look at like our B tier, our global effect is Cerebro, but like location specific, whereas like Luke Cage is a global effect here, and it's really solid.
Yeah. All right. I think that's fair. We can always adjust at the end. I think it's a good spot. All right. Then we've got Magic. Magic, actually, I don't usually think about when I think of great cards, but the amount of decks that she enables, that if Magic wasn't in the game, the decks, the archetypes that kind of disappear. I mean, there's a lot of them, right? High Evo She-Not basically goes away. Certain ongoing decks, like Living Tribunal decks, there are even like Hela decks that might rely on her if you do like a MODOK Hela, behind Invisible Woman or something. I mean, there's a lot of decks that basically run on Magic. Is she A tier? Is she S tier? I mean, she does something very, very unique and powerful. I'm actually leaning towards S tier for Magic. As I think about her more and what she does, where do you have her?
I think like the way you explained it was really, really well. I think with her now being a 3-2 instead of a 5-3, which was literally crazy. I think because being able to consistently have your own limbo location, yes, it can be turned off by some of these other cards, but like you always have to account for Magic.
Right.
In a lot of these lists right now, I think S tier. I don't think she's like top of S tier. But I think for like combo synergy and what she can enable, I think she is a solid choice for S tier.
All right, let's put her below Lockjaw then. I think that's a good home for now. All right, then we got Mr. Fantastic. He's kind of whatever. I play him a little bit for tempo. He's really good if you want tempo, like as early as turn 4 to counter stuff. Is he just like low C tier?
I think we have him above Drink Goblin.
All right, I think that's fair. All right, then we've got Mobius. I am a big Mobius stan. I play a ton of Mobius. Great tech card. He counters so many things, especially right now with Zabu, Sarah, everything out there. I wouldn't say S tier. I would say high B or somewhere in the A tier. Maybe an A tier card for me. What do you think?
I think Mobius is always going to be a problem. So like no matter what new cards come out, any discounting stuff, he counters Black Swan even, he counters Mr. Negative,
right?
She-Hulk. I think he's definitely an A tier.
All right, where in A tier would we have him above Killmonger? All right, then we'll go up to Moon Knight. Double discard. He's never been too strong. Is he C? Is he F? What do we think?
So he's definitely C tier.
Okay. Do we have him below Debris, Cable? What do you think?
Above Debris.
All right, we've got Morph. Morph has times where he gets good value. I would not say he's F tier, but still very niche. Is he somewhere in the C as well? Just a C tier guy?
He's like kind of meta dependent. Yeah,
he is.
But I think he's definitely like C tier with a lot of these big cards coming around. I mean, yeah, it's another good hit for you, but like
right now he's getting decent value, but oftentimes the randomness isn't worth it if the meta's not big stuff. Do we have him above Bishop, below Fantastic? Where would you put him?
Let's put him below Fantastic.
All right. I like it. Okay, then we've got Mystique. I am a big enjoyer of Mystique. Darkhawk decks, just ongoing power. Cerebro, Mr. Negative. She's B tier, A tier. What do you think?
I think she's got to be like A tier. I think being able to copy an ability no matter what ongoing is.
Yeah, she gets huge value.
She works with a bug that's going on right now too.
What's the bug? What are we talking about?
She can absorb Blob's power still right now.
Is that his current power? She won't trigger it again. She'll get whatever he currently has.
I haven't tested it past that, but I have been told that it still absorbs power post Blob interaction. So. Okay,
because she is supposed to copy the text. So if Blob's in play, she will copy Blob's on reveal and ongoing. So she should copy his on reveal and trigger it again for herself to discard your deck. But you're saying the bug maybe is that she's taken Blob's already current power after he triggered?
I think it's more like what you said, kind of like the way like Electro works. Like she'll take on the on reveal and the ongoing ability. That's still something that happens. So like,
yeah, that's not a bug, right? That's just how she works.
Yeah, I guess that is just
yeah
exactly how she's supposed to play. So it's not a bug, but I think in A tier, I think there's so many different ongoing cards that you can mix
Yeah.
Mystique with.
A lot of decks, she just adds huge value.
Is it crazy for me to put her above Gladiator?
I don't think so. I'm a big Mystique enjoyer. I thought I was trying to like hype myself down. You know what I mean? I'll be like, I play a ton of Mystique. So the higher you want to put her, I'm all for it. You know, I was trying to be nice. I was trying to not get carried away.
That's good.
All right, then we've got Nakia. She just gives 1 to hand. Is this just F tier? Is it C? What's up with Nakia?
If you're a Sebastian Shaw enjoyer, or Brood enjoyer, Nakia still gives you some great value.
That's about it, though.
She's like she's an in-hand Okoye.
Yeah,
I think she's like F tier.
She shouldn't cost 3. Like, her ability should not cost 3. If it was like a 2-cost card, I think she could be worth it. Where do we have her in F tier? I don't even know where to rank her. Below Crystal? She sees maybe playing like Shaw
Crystal.
decks. Shaw Surfer.
She gives you that +1 that Captain America can't do to every single card. So.
Yeah. All right, then we've got Negasonic, who is decent as a tech card. My thoughts is that Negasonic's like C tier. She actually can be a good surprise card to just blow something up and really control a lane if you play it there, like at the end of turn 5. And you don't kill something on turn 5, it just reveals on turn 5. Then turn 6, like your opponent has to avoid it. Like she can kind of like lock down a lane in a way. So for me, she's not F tier. I think maybe top of C.
Yeah, I think top of C is the thing. Like you have to like really manage your priority in such a way to make sure she gets her maximum value.
Yeah, you have to try to get her value. Where would we have her?
She once was. I would have her below Morph.
Where we got Morph? There we go. Okay. All right, then we've got
below Green Goblin. Actually, sorry.
Below Goblin. Move her down further.
Yeah. Sorry, Negasonic.
Dang, rip. All right, Patriot. Used to see a good amount of play like Iron Patriot decks, and now they just don't. I mean, Patriot's really fallen off, and it's been a while. Is Patriot also C tier now, or you think he's still holding up in B tier?
I think you always have to respect the Patriot. So I think B tier.
All right, I'm thinking lower though. I would think maybe below Electro, or you have him above?
Above Gambit.
Above Gambit, okay, still pretty low. All right, that is fair. All right, then we got Polaris. High C, low B. Just kind of like an option, but she's a 3/5.
For raw stats, I think I might put her like at a low B tier because you can kind of drag one of these lower cost cards off of like a location that you may have been losing because you couldn't play cards there, like a Sanctum Sanctorum,
right,
or a Kylan kind of thing. I think she's like solid there.
All right, we'll have her at lowest B for now.
Mm-hmm.
Then we've got the Punisher. I think he's probably still F tier, but he does do +1 more than Captain America. So is he just right above Cap in F tier?
I think he is top of F tier, above Gene.
Ooh, that is saucy. Okay, I think that's fair. I mean, 3/7 is respectable still.
Yeah,
but it still seems like an F tier card. All right, Rhino. Is he F? Do we ever see Rhino?
If Rhino was like a 3/4 or 3/5,
yes,
he'd get more play.
And the thing is too, Cerebro 3 decks just run Scarlet Witch because she's cheaper and also 3 power. I mean, there are times when people do run Rhino in a C3, but like that's it. That's the extent of his play, is rarely in Cerebro decks. So you have him as F?
I think I have him in F. Not My Dance is actually talking about this on stream today, about making him a 3/4, and he'd get more playthrough.
I think so. I mean, I personally, I like him. I like how consistent he is because I like knowing. But a 3/3, like, it's just not worth it. Especially if it's a game that you don't need to destroy a location, then he just sucks, right? He feels bad. We'll keep him there. Then we've got Rock Slide. Rock Slide is really good. I mean, if you're playing Darkhawk, you're playing Rock Slide. Can help out Ronin style as well. Is Rock Slide just A tier because he's basically a package with Darkhawk?
Yeah, I think he's A tier for the package, and because even if you like don't draw Darkhawk, you still are shuffling 2 rocks into your opponent's deck, which
You
is
still made
hindering what
their hand worse. Where in A tier would we have him?
I have him above Lady Sif.
All right. Yeah, he's basically as long as Darkhawk stays where he currently is and they don't nerf him, Rock Slide stays good. Like that's you need Rock Slide if you're playing Darkhawk. All right, Rogue. Nice tech card. Top of B? Low A?
Top
B?
I think top of B because like
she does only hit one and it is random. Is that you know, but she can get good value. She can win games at times. Would you have her above Hitmonkey?
I have her above Hitmonkey. I'm trying to think, like, realistically, Rogue, people, you have to stack your ongoing cards because this card exists.
Yeah.
So I think there's an argument for low A below Luke Cage.
All right, mate. We'll keep her here for now, and we'll look as we get close to the end, see what we want to shuffle. Because we may even have too many cards in the A tier. We'll have to see. All right, Sabertooth, Destroy just does not make the cut. As a Destroy player, do you think Sabertooth is low C or F?
I think he's F. I think he needs to get like a +1 when he gets destroyed.
He needs something, right? He needs some kind of buff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. Wear an F tier. I mean, all these cards are bad. I guess where doesn't matter.
Below Groot.
Oh, no. He's not worse than Groot.
You have to destroy him to maximize stability.
But he still does power up death and null and stuff. And then he's free after, right? He's free after the first destroy. Like, you could play him. You can't play Groot.
Okay, put him below Crystal.
All right. That is funny. He does need a buff, though. All right, what about Sauron? Shuri decks have fallen off, but when they are back in meta, and when they have been meta, Sauron's really good. Like, he pops off. Is Sauron, like, perma B tier because of that?
Sauron is A tier.
You think he's A tier still?
Sauron is A tier because of all the way he can just negate an entire deck, and the way he's just going to continue to get better and better with all these just like crazy ongoing cards coming out like in April, like and everything too. I think what he allows you to do without having to put in your deck on curve, playing him on 3 is just beautiful.
All right, we'll sit him here for now. Would you have him above Luke Cage?
I would have him right there.
All right, it's a bit hard right now because Shuri's kind of out of the meta, but he is basically a staple there.
Oh, it'll be back this week, don't worry.
Oh, shoot. All right, what about Sebastian Shaw? C? C tier?
C, but like top C tier. Very top C, because you always have to respect the Sebastian Shaw. If Sebastian Shaw gets hit by anything,
he does get really big. He will basically win the lane.
Yeah.
All right, then we've got Shanna. See some playing like Zudex, Dazzler stuff. C tier? Another C?
Low end C tier.
Yeah, I don't think she's F as a 3-cost card. But I agree. Do we have her maybe right above Cable or right above Debris?
I'd put her above Negasonic.
Oh, okay. You got her a bit higher up than I was thinking.
Because like you think like realistically, it is an RNG card.
You do get big value.
But it is 4 cards you add to the board at one time.
Yeah. Yeah, you do get pretty big stats out of her. Okay, then we've got Silver Surfer. Now, Silver Surfer decks, when I first started playing, they were popping off. I mean, I was there when the season came out, and he was just completely busted S tier. Took a nerf, and really has never fully recovered. Him and Zabu got nerfed at the same time, and Zabu is still an amazing card. Surfer decks, you know, they're kind of just okay, but they just get overshadowed by Zabu in 4 costs. Is Surfer just kind of another one of these Cerebro, Patriot, just kind of like perma B tier cards, unless, you know, we see some really big synergies or changes to 3-cost cards?
Yeah, I think I like that. At B tier.
Yeah, maybe we'll put him right above Patriot?
Yeah.
All right.
No, actually, I put him below Patriot.
You put him below. Okay. Hot take. Surfer players are going to be roasting us in the comments.
That's all right.
All right, then we got Spider-Man as a 3/5. He's okay. Is he another B tier card?
Yeah, I think it's beer. I think he's B tier. I think the RNG aspect of him
Right,
kind of
it can be
limits what he
annoying
was,
sometimes.
but
Yeah, I think he's probably better than Surfer though. Where in B tier would you have him?
I'll have him above Coulson. Yeah, I think that's solid.
All right, I like it. All right, we've got Storm. I'm a big Storm advocate. To me, A tier or B. I'm inclined to think high B or low A.
Low A.
Low A.
Low A.
Would you have her above Luke or below? How low on A are you thinking?
Below
I
Sauron.
definitely below Sauron, yeah. All right, then we're looking at Strong Guy. He did get a small buff at one point in time. Is he still F tier or you think he's C?
I think he's still F tier, unfortunately.
Yeah, when he first got changed, I thought maybe he was C, but then basically people tried him out for like a week, and then you still find out it's like not worth it, right? It's just like not worth the trouble. Where in F tier? Maybe below Crystal?
Yeah, I have below Crystal. I think that
Might be a good home. Swordmaster. Oh gosh, Swordmaster had just been getting dumped on. I mean, they buffed Lady Sif, who's the targeted Swordmaster, right? They're both 3-cost cards. Lady Sif is targeted. They buff her, so she's just 1 power less, which is just so much better. Having targeted, only losing 1 power. And now we even got Corvus Glaive, who's a 3/5, targets randomly as well, but he gives plus energy. Swordmaster, just clear F tier, right?
So I think if we have Cables in C tier, we have Swordmaster in C tier. But like the bottom of C tier.
That's a good point. But when do you see played Swordmaster? When does he get played?
When you get him from
What a location? Camp Leahy?
Yeah, Camp Leahy. That's when you play Swordmaster on final turn.
Honestly, there are some really bad 3-cost cards, is what I'm seeing with this list.
Yeah.
So you think he's better than Cable?
I think he's
worse than Cable.
I think he's worse than Cable, but better than Rhino. But like we can't. He's like he needs like to get some extra power.
So
like
put him at the top
3/7.
of F. How about the top of F?
Okay.
All right, we've got Thor. Bit better now that we've got Better A Bill in the game, and the Jane Foster package. Is Thor B tier now?
Yeah, I think he's B.
Right, he can actually get good value, and still works in Lockjaw, who we have in S tier.
And Lockjaw's just busted.
Yeah. So where in B tier is the question? I'd actually say maybe above Patriot or even higher.
I put him above Spider-Man and Brood.
All right, I like that. He's actually pretty decent since Better A Bill came out. All right, we've got Venom. Is this the last 3-cost card? No, we've got a lot more. Wow, there's a lot of alphabetically. Venom, I know you're a big Destroy player. Are you going to tell me he's S tier or are we fighting for a high A? I would think Venom is high A just based on our list. He is pinned to Destroy, but he is needed in Destroy. He's like a pure staple. Where do you have Venom?
Venom is right above Mobius.
Okay. You're not even fighting for the S tier?
I mean, Venom is huge, and like people hate Venom and Destroy, and they want Venom to get freaking changed because he takes on all the power and stuff.
But he's not
I
the
think-
enablers in that deck.
No, and I think the bigger issue is Deadpool getting bigger. That's
Yeah.
why Venom is big.
And you think Deadpool and X-23 give more value to Destroy than Venom?
Yeah, because you're playing up until like if you're halfway through Series 3 and you don't have Venom yet, you still have Deathlock, Carnage, and Killmonger, and you still get crazy with X-23. I mean, I guess you have to have X-23 to enable stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Makes sense. All right, Viper, now a 3/5, really awkward. I'm not sure I've seen her played since she got changed to a 3/5. I mean, it's not a bad stat line. But like Clog wanted something cheap to send over. 2-3 Viper was great. They changed it for Havoc, and people don't play Havoc. Is she F? Is she bottom C? Maybe near the very bottom of C?
It's like another one of those stats. It's like a 3-5. You're sending something. There's an argument for bottom of C.
Yeah.
But I think she's better than Swordmaster on F, just because you can kind of see what you're sending over.
Yeah, I think bottom C I like more than F. I think maybe right below Debris. I mean, you could play her in Clog deck if you wanted, with like Sentry still, but Annihilus just overshadows her there. But she could be still good with the hood. It's just awkward curve now. So what do you think about below Debris in C tier?
Yeah, I like it below Debris.
She won't ever unknowingly screw you over. Whereas like Swordmaster, you play him like you just don't know, right? He might lose you the game. Viper, you know. And she's got 3 power. 5 power, I mean. Vulture. Move decks aren't very good. Vulture does power up, but honestly, Human Torch is just better. If you want just something really big and you can protect it. Is he another C tier card?
Vulture is F tier.
You think he's F?
With the change to
Dagger.
+3
You're
to
right.
every card in that location, Vulture's just dead.
You're completely spot on. Dagger, I was thinking Human Torch. I'm like, there's something else too. It's Dagger. Dagger will get way bigger than your Vulture will. Like, he only gets +5. Dagger can get, what, +12 each time?
Yeah, if there's 4 cards in the location and
She
you're
gets
doing some
+12
stuff,
each move. Yeah, and she's cheaper. So, is he an F tier as well? Where in F tier?
below Rhino.
Honestly, 3-cost cards, as we're looking at this list, second dinner, Glenn had said 3 costs are the worst performing, like, cost. Like, of all of them, 1 through 6, 3s are the worst. And looking at this list, I agree. We have so many that we just look at and be like, these cards suck. Like, they're clearly worse than this other option. You know, and some of these are worse than just other specific 3 costs. It's like, it's nuts. That's where cards go to die. They like change cards to 3 costs. All right, then we got Wave. Here's another card. Wave used to be S tier, easily S tier. Back in the day. Now she's also a 3-5. If they make a card a 3-5, it's usually a bad sign, I think. She's got this ability that can ramp out Galactus, so people do play her a bit now. I'd say she's not F tier. For me, Wave is near the higher end of C, because she does get play in some ramp, but she helps your opponent.
Yeah, I think C's valid.
She's definitely not F,
like,
is my opinion.
Yeah, with the Mobius interaction change, and like it makes even your lower cost cards still cost what they cost originally. She's definitely above Ironheart, but below Shaw.
All right, that's fair. And last, but possibly least, we have Wolfsbane. Wolfsbane basically sees play in Mr. Negative decks and Wong. And that's it. Another kind of early game card is Wolfsbane. For me, because she can be good, like if you are playing a Ravana deck that had like Mr. Negative, like you could put in Wolfsbane and she could like win a lane. Okay, so to me, Wolfsbane is not F tier when I compare it to like Swordmaster. To me, I'm thinking lower or middle C tier.
I think low end C tier. I think she caps out, but like you think about it, she caps out at a 3-7. Like Dawkin without any buffs a 3-8. I don't think you can really like.
Yeah, well, I think because when you play her, you're flipping her. Like if you flip her Mr. Negative, or you had like Wong down, you're playing like a Ravana Wong deck, then Wolfsbane triggers multiple times and gets big.
Yeah, she's got some like value. Like she's better, of course, earlier on. Like when you're first learning the game, but like she still can surprise your opponent. You're like, okay, they can't put more than 5 power here. Boom, 7 power. They're like, wait, what?
Yeah. Okay, I agree. In C tier, where would we have her? I think below Dawkin is fair. Do we even have her below Debris?
Yeah, I can do below Debris. I'm here for it.
All right, and so we have put on all the cards. Now let's take a look at our list. Is there anything we want to change? For me, I feel like our A tier might be a bit too hefty. I think our F tier looks hefty, but all these cards look F tier to me. Like they are horrible. They're just so bad. And where do we think we need some changes? Do we move Corvus and Luke Cage down to B?
I think we definitely move Luke Cage down to B.
Would you even put him? In my opinion, I might even have like Rogue above Luke Cage.
I have Rogue above Luke Cage, and then I might move Lady Sif down to B as well.
You'd keep Corvus as A, but Lady Sif as B?
I think anything that just allows you to have another extra energy, like in such a way where, yes, you are discarding cards.
I just feel like Lady Sif, she's kind of like a Venom, right? She's just like a staple in discard. Like, what discard decks do not run Lady Sif if it's like a Hela or Black Knight deck?
You don't run her in the Gambit Cannon discard.
Yeah, well, if you're going for random stuff, I guess.
But you do run her in, like, Collector discard with Helicarrier.
Yeah.
So I think you could take... Or even crazier, I might take Rock Slide out of A tier.
That's interesting.
I think even like Darkhawk can win games right now, but Darkhawk's not winning you the game.
But even just of looking over not just the specific meta right now, but thinking like just through the metas, how good is Darkhawk? Does that make Rockslide an auto A tier? Because Darkhawk is like super high winning.
I mean, Darkhawk is not really high winning though right now because of
Blob. I'm just saying overall, not just like these past 2 weeks.
I think if Blob was
That's
different,
true.
I think
that is true. Blob coming out changes things. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna say you mentioned Blob. I'd forgotten about that because since Blob has been released, that's not like a meta thing. That's like a permanent hit to Darkhawk and Rockslide decks. Okay, so I will go ahead. Let's go ahead. Put Rockslide down in B. We have him above or below Rogue.
I would put him above Rogue. I just think, like, holistically, the Darkhawk decks that are performing, like, even before, like, these past, like, 2 OTAs and patches, the reason they're performing is because of Leech and Blob not being able to play on 6, potentially.
Right.
But if you do cheat Blob out with a, like, because you're playing Blob and Thanos, you cheat him out with a is it Time Stone? Was the green one?
Time Stone, or you could get a Lockjaw or something. Yeah,
I think just... The value of the Darkhawk is just not great right now. And even in like the negative pack Darkhawk, they're not running Korg or Rockslide in there. They're just running
It's like you definitely need
power.
Darkhawk, and Rockslide is you can always play him in the deck usually unless it's negative. But the main thing is that like Zabu enables like Darkhawk to be a 3, and that's where it comes. And sometimes you don't have Darkhawk or you don't have Rockslide, and you get like Black Widow and Korg. But you basically always want to draw Darkhawk. Like if you don't draw Darkhawk, you're in trouble in those type of decks. Okay, is there anything on this list else that you think needs to be changed, or that you think you're happy with everything? I think our S tier is good. Just 2 cards there, and I agree with those. I would actually
argument for Gambit to be top of C instead of B tier.
I think so. I think there is. I agree with that argument. I'll put him above. Would you put him below Shaw or above, actually?
I'm below Shaw.
Yeah. I would actually put Rhino. I'm going to move Swordmaster lower down. I feel like... I mean, Vulture's also bad. Vulture's really bad. I'm going to move Vulture down lower, too. Just not a Vulture guy. That is another list down. We just got 4, 5, and 6 to go. And let us know what you all think in the comments down below. If you're liking our list, if you're hating our list, let us know why, which cards you think we missed, what your best cards on this list would be. And until then, thank you, Tuccrr, so much for being on again. You want to say goodbye to the viewers?
Yeah, thank you, Doc D, so much for having me. These are always a blast because I feel like we truly get to think through everything that we're doing, and it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you guys for freaking watching the video. Appreciate that as well. We love doing these lists, and we're going to get through all of these, and then we're going to have a huge one for like the end of the year, which is going to be freaking crazy.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out how to do that. That's gonna be massive, but we'll figure it out. We'll keep cooking after we get to our 6 cost tier list. We'll definitely keep cooking. So thank you everybody for watching. We appreciate it. Until then, stay positive. I'll see you next time.